Hello again, welcome to Crafts by the Bow. This is my 5th project using the Crafting 12 Days of Advent box. And today I'm going to be using the little stencils that come with the kit. Now, I've used them and I'm only making a 4x4 piece of card. So that makes it really easy for me. I've got my 4x4 and it's the exact same size as the card. If you're making it on a bigger piece of card, you might want to tape this down and have it on grid paper or your glass mat or something so that you know you always line it up. But I'll show you how to line it up in a moment. I've left this for you just to have a quick look and take a screenshot if you want to. And then I'm going to start with the stencils. So let's put that to one side. I've got a little piece of scrap paper. And the stencils you can do as 2 colours. Here's a quick one that I made earlier, which was Fresh Freesia and Gorgeous Grape. So I used 2 colours on that. But I like to use just 1 colour. And I like it so that I can do a lighter shade and then I can rub a little bit harder and make it darker. So I've tried to show you that you can go from a very, very light colour of the Pretty Peacock here to very dark. And that way I only need to use 1 brush and it makes it easy for me. So I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock. And as I said, I need slightly smaller than 4x4 for my card, but I'm making it on a 4x4 card. Each of the stencils has a number next to this notch. So it's 1, 2, 3 and 4. And that's the order that you colour in. So I've got number 1. I'm going to put it right on top of my card here. I've got a little bit of washi tape to hold it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line it up like this. And then I'm going to stick it down onto my scratch paper. Just making sure that that's level. Yeah. And then as an extra precaution, what I'm also going to do, where that little notch is, I'm going to just draw that with a pencil. And then when I start to line the other pieces up, I know that I'll be in the right place, because it's very easy for these plastic stencils to slip. The kit comes with this little brush, but honestly, I'm not very good with the smaller brushes. So what I'm going to use are my blending brushes. I'm using the small blending brushes, but I find it hard to use this. So I'm going to just use my blending brushes. I've got my Pretty Peacock, and my first layer I'm going to do quite gently. So all I'm doing is putting a little bit of the Pretty Peacock ink, and I'm just going to rub some of it off. You see how when you rub off you get those darker spots? I don't want that on my card. If you have the glass mat, it's easy just to rub it onto the glass mat, and then you can pick more ink up from the glass mat as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm still holding the stencil. I'm just going to go round and do little circles. Some I'm going to make it look a little bit lighter, the darker bits in the middle. So they won't all be the exact same shade or depth of colour. Okay, that's number 1 finished with. I'm going to lift it up. Take my little washi tape off. I'll put that one to one side for cleaning later. And then I'm going to find stencil number 2. Again, I'm going to put it onto my card here. I'm going to match it up with that notch. And then I'm going to lay it down. See, it's already just slipped. So there we go. That's why it's good to sort of have a little mark to line it up with, and the washi tape as well. Okay, this time I'm going to go a little bit heavier, because I want to see this a little bit more as the accent. If you were doing this with 2 colours, you wouldn't have to worry about going heavier, because usually your second colour is going to be a little bit darker anyway. And I know that on here, some bits will be even darker, and that's fine. I'm quite happy with that. Okay. Oh, I don't know if I did that one. There we go. I think that's the end of all the peacock colour that I need. So I'm going to put that down and take this off. And you can see I've already got two colours. I've got this lighter Pretty Peacock and then the darker. Pop that on one side. Let's find number 3. Again, I'm going to put it onto my 4x4 piece. But if you were doing this with a larger piece of card, I would do it just the same. I would have the little notch marked and I would have it taped down, sort of more at the bottom as well, just to hold it in place. So next, I'm starting to do the leaves. So I'm going to go with Old Olive. Now the Old Olive is one of the colours on the Designer Series paper that comes with the kit. Pretty Peacock is not, but you can make these any colour you like. Oh, see how that slipped again? Let me just make sure that that's it. I just need to make sure that it's level at the top as well. Okay. So just a few little leaves here, and this is going to be a little bit lighter, just the same as when we did the floral part. The first layer I make a little bit lighter, but you could do this with 2 different greens. Doesn't have to be the same. Okay, that's all there is on that piece. Really quick to make. Oh, I just saved my washi tape. Number 4, and to place it down, make sure I've got the edges lined up, make sure I've got the notch lined up, and then just pop this, there we go, just pop this on. Now on this one, you'll notice that it's got the stems and the veins for the leaves, but there's also a little bit for the inside of the flowers. So I'm just going to be mindful that I'm not doing where the flowers are. I'm going to do those with crushed curry in a moment. This time my green's going to be a little bit stronger. I'm just going to rub in a little bit more. Make sure that I've got all of those little gaps covered. I do love using the stencils that Stampin' Up offer. We've had some really pretty floral ones in the last couple of months, and I think it makes a really nice background. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll stencil a whole piece of basic white, the thinner basic white, and then I'll cut it up into pieces to use as almost like a background Designer Series paper. That makes a really pretty card too. Okay, so I've got my crushed curry, and I'm just going to do those little circles that we've got here that make the middle of the flowers. And then these little blending brushes, they're really quick and easy to wash. I just use like, sometimes I'll use even like a bubble bath or a shower gel wash, or just a very mild washing up liquid, and leave them to dry. And they come up really nice. You might not get rid of all the stain, but it doesn't transfer onto your next project. Just looking here, I don't know if I did quite enough in that little green bit there. There we go. Okay, so that's all of the stenciling done. When I clean these, I just go over them with a little spray and a paper towel. Or you could use a baby wipe or something as well. Okay, and there we are. Doesn't that come up really pretty? So let's get rid of that. And let's find our pieces for our card again. So I'm going to start with the base. I have already scored and got things ready, just because I knew I'd be an extra few minutes making the stencil in here. Right, so our base, it's Pretty Peacock to match my flowers, and it's an 11x4. I've scored it at 1.5 and at 7. And when you fold this up, it will make like a gate card, but an offset one. See, both sides are not the same. They do meet, but not right in the middle. Okay, so that's going to be our base. I need, let's find these little layers that I need. I need a piece of white for the inside at 4 by 5 1/4. And really, what I should have done is maybe stenciled a piece. I'm not going to glue that in yet because I think afterwards I might just stencil this, just that flower for the inside. And I'll show you it when I've finished, when I put it up on my channel. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pop that flower on the inside. So we won't stick that down yet. We'll just pretend that we've done that. Okay, so I need some basic white layers. And I've got those here. So I've got 4 by 1 1/4. Yep, 4 by 1 1/4. That's going to go here on this right hand side piece. I'm making a double layer. If you don't want to have 2 layers, you can make it so that this is your designer series paper instead. Don't put a card layer in as well. And that way you've only got 1 layer. Oops, a little bit of glue there. And then I need a piece that's 4 by 3 3/4 because our centerpiece here is not quite a square. Just see, that's not the piece. So let me see, where did I put the piece? Is that this piece? Yeah. See, that's a 4 by 4 piece. This is 4 by 3 3/4. So you see, it's not quite square. Pop that on there. You could do this as a tone on tone with the cardstock if you wanted, or a different colour cardstock. It doesn't have to be white. You could make your base white and your layers coloured. Okay, now on here I'm going to put a piece of designer series paper. It says 3 3/4 by 1, but actually what I've got is I found a piece of leftover embossed Pretty Peacock, and so what I'm going to do is I've just cut a little piece of that off, and instead of a designer series paper I'm going to put that little embossed layer on. There we go. And again, it's just got that 1/4 inch gap all the way. There we go. Nice even border. Okay, now we need to put our floral piece on, and this is too big. So what I did was I cut it down. I've cut it down here. Let me just see what that is. That's 3 1/2 by 3 3/4. Okay, so let me just write that on here so that you can see. So our stencil piece, the finished piece, is 3 1/2 by 3 3/4. I'm going to put finished so you know which one I'm talking about. And I cut it down. I started off, I cut 1/8 inch off all the way around, and then I just cut the extra off the sides here to make sure that this image was still in the middle. And that just has a nice little white border around, the same as this. But like I said earlier, if you want to do the base white and have this as a coloured layer underneath, that would look really pretty too. Glue that down right in the middle. Okay. Next, we're going to do our little sentiment. And I'll pop the lid on that for a moment. I chose one of the pre-cut little labels here. If you didn't want to use one of those, you could use one of these little dies as well to do your sentiment on. And I chose this one with the little dots around, and I used this for someone extra special. And we're going to have that over here, but we're only going to attach it to this little right hand side door so that it still opens easily. And I'm going to pop it up on dimensionals. So my dimensionals are only going to go at this right hand side. Excuse my reach. I should have got them out earlier. Let's have some scissors. I'm going to actually just take a longer piece like this and put it all the way down the right hand side of it. So I'm going to hold it here, and I know that it's going to go at this side. So when I turn it over, that's going to be over there on the left. Take that little backing off. And I'm just going to measure where I want it. I want to see a little bit of the flower here. There we are. Oh, let's make it straight. There we are. Okay. Can't see any of the dimensionals because they're hidden behind here. I'm going to pop that down. And then out of the little pack with the die cuts and things, I found these little flowers. They don't exactly match here. Nothing's in Pretty Peacock because it's not one of the colours in the box. But I thought that might look quite nice. Let's have a look. I think that would look quite nice under there. Or I had some little leaves instead, but I think that would look nice. I'm going to take the very bottom of that off because it's just sticking onto the dimensional that I have it on. So it just won't lay flat if I lay it there. Okay, I'm going to pop this on with the dimensional as well. Take the backing off. Let me just see, yeah, I want it to go there. Actually, just let me see what it looks like that way. No, it looks upside down. So I'm just going to pop it under here. Oops. It's just catching on my dimensional here. So I'm just going to move that dimensional out a little bit and then it will stick just under there. That's better. Okay, but you could put the little ones on as well. You could pop those underneath like that. Oh, actually, I like that one. I like that one glued down flat just to make that pop up a little bit more. So let's do that. Let's pop a little tiny bit of liquid glue on. There we go. Okay, and you could add some of the embellishments. You could add some of the little golden sequins. Oh, little drops really, they're not sequins. These ones are sequins. If you wanted to add some of the little gold flowers, and you could pop some in the middle there as well. I'm just going to put a couple of these ones on. And you've seen me put these on before. I like to put them onto a glue dot. They're a little bit staticky, so I tend to take them out with my tweezers, and I use the bigger ones. So if I can just... I'm going to have to tip a couple out as they just want to stay inside the pot. Okay, so let's find where my glue dots are. And see, when you pick them up, it's very difficult for them to fall off your finger. So I just find it easier to put them on these with these tweezers. And then I'm going to fold all the glue dot back so we can't see it. I'm going to put just one over here, and then let's put a couple more on. Oh, that one ran away. Let's stick that one down here. I like these ones. They're a little bit flatter than some of our other gems, and it means that they go through the mailing slot easily. But what I normally do, if I'm sending something that has any bling on the top, let's just put some of these up here. I tend to fold my card inside out. And you can put a little piece of card over the top if you want to. Oh, actually, let's see what that's like over here. No, I'm going to pop it up here. So you could put a little piece of card over the top just to stop it getting stuck in the machines when it goes to be franked. I'm just going to put one here as well. There we go. Let me pop those away before they all fall all over my desk. And then let me just get a card. So if this was your card base and it had lots of little bling, whether these kind of things, sequins, whatever, what I'll do is fold that inside out so that they're sort of stuck inside here while it goes through the mail and they're protected. Whereas sometimes if they're on the outside here, you might notice that they get poked through the envelope or they get stuck in the franking machine. And if I have them like that, then there's nothing rough there to catch. But some people I know do put just like a little piece of card over the top, and that helps too. Okay, so there we are. That's our 5th little card and project using our 12 days of Advent. I keep wanting to just say Christmas, but it's 12 days of Advent calendar. And I think that's a really pretty little stencil. And I will do the stencil for the inside, and I'll take a photograph and add that to my YouTube channel so that you can see. Or I'll add it onto the Facebook channel if I can't get it on the YouTube one. But I'm just going to pop it inside. It would be really nice on the envelope too. So thank you so much for watching and for being with me. And I hope you'll give this one a go. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.